I don't know about you, but this is one of my favorite times of year. I love that we still get to enjoy the warm summer days and evenings, even though the days are getting shorter, but it's still daylight for pretty long. But what I like most about it is we're ramping up for one of my favorite times of year, which is football season. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and football here is kind of like life. There's a huge high school and collegiate scene, and we also have a very prominent NFL team. This next section, we're going to cover Tuckman's stages of group development, and I think that football is a great analogy to look at this. There are 5 stages of group development in Tuckman's model. The first one is forming. This is like your draft. What you're looking for in positions, what do you need to fill your team? You got to talk to your coaches to see what they're looking for, to see who's going to fit in on your team. Once your players are drafted, they're feeling out the organization, they're getting to know existing players and staff, and they're trying to find their niche. The next stage is storming. Many NFL teams are in this right now, and I think that is very similar to training camp. Many teams are in training camp where tensions may arise as players compete for those starting positions or even to make that city squad. Disagreements about strategy or execution can emerge, like whether the quarterback wants to run the ball or pass the ball. And coaches might manage egos and new personalities to see who all fits to achieve the common goal of winning the next Super Bowl. The third one is norming. Once players make that final 53-person roster, it's time for the chemistry to build and start to solidify. Players begin trusting one another more and working together in their designated roles on a more regular basis. This team really starts to gel and communication improves on and off the field. The next level is performing. Tuckman's performing stage is parallel to game day execution. The team now operates as a fairly well-oiled machine. The players know who's starting in which position, and those who aren't starters know that their roles are important in which situations where key players need to rest. Everyone understands these roles and executes them with precision. Challenges are met with confidence, and the team adapts quickly during games. Finally, the last stage of Tuckman's group development is adjourning. This is where the season ends, either in victory with the Lombardi Trophy or defeat looking to next year's success. Will your team be lifting that Lombardi or reevaluating what could have been done differently to get to the Super Bowl? Players reflect on their journeys, achievements, and prepare for the next steps. Some players and coaches might retire, some might move to other teams, while others will start prepping for the next season. I'm sure as I describe these to you with a football analogy, you can picture kind of where your team is falling. It's important to understand and know where your team is when it comes to group development in order to achieve organizational change management successfully. You can also learn more about Tuckman's stages of group development in the HDI Support Center Director class. By knowing where you are and where you fall, it will help you grow as an organization to get to that performing and adjourning stages so you're not just forming and storming during your change management. You need to have the appropriate people on board and appropriate teams to achieve your goals and lift that trophy at the end of the season. Now, I introduced the Tuckman's groups because we need to thrive by working together. I'm sure many of you have seen a version of this visual of the boss versus leader. When you think of a boss, typically you think of somewhat macho personality, shouting directionals at subordinates, pointing fingers and directing them where to go. You don't want to be a boss. You want to be a leader. You want to take the reins, show your team the way, and they will follow. To avoid resistance, again, get back to talking the talk and walking the walk. And while you're at it, you must know your audience, which we'll look at in the next section, in order to communicate them and know what will resonate the best. And another key point is you want to make sure your company culture and core values are drivers in the entire change process. You want to look for value and how you will bring that to your team. I love this quote from the book Switch. If you want people to change, you have to provide crystal clear direction. What looks like resistance is often lack of clarity. Make sure your team is on board and be direct and communicate well to know exactly what those end goals are for success. Our next set of discussion questions are going to look at change communication based on team maturity. Looking at the 5 stages of Tuckman's group development, when you're introducing a change initiative, how do you form your messaging and engagement strategies to the different teams that may exist in your organization? Look at how the different parts and different areas of a football team or a football season play into how your teams are performing and where they're at in their success. And how do you manage change when teams are in conflict? How do you battle those egos? How do you decide who is right, who is wrong? Or the hard part, how do you come to a compromise? Take a few minutes to answer these questions, and we'll be back with the next section.